All right, welcome everybody. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Right as we were about to go live, my computer decided it wanted to freeze up, but I think everything's taken care of and we'll be able to have this live stream smoothly. I want to thank everybody for joining tonight, this wonderful, calm Wednesday, October 8th, 2025, 3 days before OU Texas. I am joined tonight by several guests, and they will all be appearing in and out as we all have busy schedules. We all have busy lives. But I am joined by my dad, the man, the myth, the winner of the 2019 Year of the Fan Award. And I'm also joined by a roughneck, as we are all here to talk about OU Texas upcoming, and share just some more, but we all probably have some interesting. I kind of want to just go around the room very, very quickly, and as other people join in, we'll have them introduce themselves and talk as well. So let's start with you, Dad. Tell a little bit about yourself. Tell about your connection with OU, as well as how many OU Texas games have you attended, or the last one you attended in person.
Oh, shoot. Well, this is Ed. I'm Josh's dad when he admits to it. I can't remember how many OU Texas games I have been to, but I know for a fact when I was going back in the 70s, which is a long time ago, ticket prices were only $20 a piece.
And every person in the room just groaned, knowing that the ticket prices right now on SeatGeek, not promoted, is somewhere in the ballpark of $300 to $400 for the cheap seats at this point. Every person wishes we could pay that price.
No joke. And when you bought your season tickets, it automatically came with the OU Texas tickets. So back then there wasn't a quota or what you had to do it. It just came in whether you wanted them or not. You know.
Exactly. And versus now where it's a raffle and you just kind of hope to be part of the raffle to be in the raffle at this point.
Yeah. So I'm not that lucky. So
yeah. What was the last OU Texas you attended?
I don't remember.
Whenever we last went
I
fair,
really
right?
don't. I really don't. It could have been with you and me when we scored 60 some odd points on them with Megan, and it could have been it was raining that day, but I don't remember what year it was.
Sure. As well as not to mention just Dad here, but also Scooterman 02, who was part of the Roughnecks. So Scooterman, can you tell a little bit about yourself? How many OU Texas games have you been to, as well as the last one?
Yeah, for sure. As a Roughneck several years ago. Probably this will be my 20th OU Texas game that I have been to. So over the years. And my last one was probably the best one, the Caleb Williams comeback. So, can't wait to get back out there. And I've seen some pretty good ones over the years. So,
absolutely, I think. Yeah, absolutely. That Caleb Williams game will probably has only been topped lately by the 2023 game. So we are officially 3 days off from kickoff. And I think kind of the starting point right now I want to go into, before we go into like more stories and everything, is OU is now favored 1.5. Obviously, this game is a toss-up game, but when the line started, Texas was favored by 3. But starting to get kind of inklings that looks like John Mateer may be playing this Saturday, all the way up to the injury report tonight that says he is officially questionable. We'll start with you, Schoonerman. How are you feeling right now, 3 days before? Are you getting more nervous? Are you getting more excited? Do you think we can win this one in Dallas? Where are you currently at 8:21 p.m.? And Texas, obligatory Texas sucks.
Yeah. Once the John Mateer hits probable, I'll feel a lot better. Let's just say that after watching that Michael Hawkins versus Kent State. I feel if Mateer plays, I feel pretty decent. If Hawkins plays, I hope Brent's got a bunch of blitzes dialed up for Arch Manning because we're going to need him.
Sure. Dad, same question to you as well. How are you feeling right now going into Dallas this Saturday? Are you feeling more confident? Are you getting more nervous? Is it all dependent on how Mateer plays?
I don't get nervous till kickoff. And, I've seen too many OU Texas games where we're supposed to win by a landslide. And of course, we had a flat day and we get beat. However, I'll believe it when I see material on the field throwing his passes. I'm not going either way. I've just seen too many weird things happen at OU Texas.
Sure. Can you give us an example of a weird thing that happened with OU Texas?
Oh, shoot.
You know I was going to put you on the spot a lot tonight.
You are, but yeah. I remember the year that it was Switzer, and I think it was Darrell Royal, and the president all walked on the field together.
Which president was it? You just said which president?
Yeah, president of the United States. I don't remember. And then someone in the stands yelled out or something. Who's that asshole with you, Barry? Who's that asshole with, or something like that? And of course, they were talking about Darrell Royal, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But the only other thing I can think of that was funny or whatever is the Vulture story, but everybody's heard the Vulture story.
Well, we'll get back around to the Vulture story. You never know. There could be new people in here who haven't heard about it yet. So, what about you, Schooner Man?
Yeah.
Any like out of the wall, like random moments that immediately come to your mind?
Well, one that comes to mind is when Dylan Gabriel didn't pass concussion protocol, and everybody thought he was playing, and then we rolled out a tight end as quarterback for 4 quarters. So we thought that was the best game plan. So I'd say that one, 2015, I think comes to mind, when we went in heavy favorites and Gerard Hurd ran for 300 yards, it feels like, and their entire team, that's all they did. You knew they were running quarterback power, and we had no idea how to stop them. So that one brings back some World War II memories for sure.
Absolutely.
Hey, Josh,
yes.
I'm sorry. I remember one more before I forget. It's when Earl Campbell was playing for the University of Texas. And I saw 5 Sooners try to tackle him, and he drug them all into the end zone. That man was a horse.
I mean, if it means anything, we returned the receipt to them several years later with CeeDee Lamb when 5 Texas people tried to tackle CeeDee Lamb, and he just zip-zagged around into the end zone, and probably one of the more embarrassing moments on video at that point. So, again, bouncing back and forth. Dad, let's start with you with this one. It's the week of OU Texas. We're at the point in the season where the things get real. Obviously, OU has their non-conference game. You start the season, but really the road to the national championship starts in Dallas at that point every single year. You being kind of a fan, or you going into when we used to go to Dallas, Texas. What was your preparation going into the game at this point? What type of like anything you did before going into it versus some of the guests we have later joining on, where it's like the Pride of Oklahoma had their routine, the Roughnecks had their routine, content creators have theirs. Did you do anything different as a fan, or was it just make it through the week to work to get ready to go down to Dallas?
Make it through the week and waiting for the game on Saturday. I had no special preparation.
Sure. Scooter Man, what about you? What is it in the life as a Roughneck prepping for OU Texas for the last prior for like the last away game or the last home game, knowing next week is OU Texas? Where does it start for y'all? Is it right when the clock hit 0 the previous Saturday and that preparation starts, or does it go even earlier? Walk us kind of through that.
Yeah, I would say it starts probably at the 2-minute timeout. That last game, you start to think that, Texas is next weekend. So everyone gets excited. There's kind of a nice little tradition that goes on towards the end of the game that it's called home field advantage. So we take some empty shotgun shells that's been going on for quite some years. And you take an empty shotgun shell, grab a piece of home field turf, stuff it in the shotgun, and see if you can sneak that into the Cotton Bowl the next week. And then that'll come up later. But so it starts then the Sunday before OU Texas. Everybody meets up for Paint Texas. So painting the sidewalk, beat the hell out of Texas over there. And it's been going on forever. It used to be in front of Dale Hall, and then they moved it. Can't remember what exact date they moved it, but so every Sunday before OU Texas, we paint the sidewalk, and those are all the dates that you see on campus of that sidewalk painting is every Sunday before. Most people will say, well, that's not the right date of the game. Well, it's the Sunday before that. So that kind of kicks off the week, and everybody gets going there. And then from there, you're just counting down, just same as a work week and class schedule. You're just, man, I got to make it to the next day. And then we start doing pony prep on Thursday night, and then everybody convoys out on Friday. Back in the day, they would all convoy on a bus, and a lot of things went on in the bus. And that's back whenever you could do a lot more, get away with a lot more stuff. But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Schooner Man, you can attest as you were a student as well. I think really like it being a student versus the actual trip down there. I would say as a student, it was more of the anticipation as well of like, all right, I got to make it through this week, make it to Thursday, long weekend, regardless if we win or lose, and make it to the game at this point. I feel like more there was a lot of buildup and anticipation. Like, I'm looking forward to the longer weekend and got to make it through any final or any midterms, anything before we get to that point for that. And then the festivities started and everything. I would say, honestly, the other part was, at least at my time, I don't know how it is right now, but I think with, I would add in for as a student, it was picking up your ticket and knowing like where you were sitting at and everything at that point. Which, for anybody who does not know, one of my favorite stories to tell is back in 2012, was before the Caleb Williams one. That was my graduating year at OU, and one of my friends wanted to go, and she had never been before and wanted to go experience OU Texas. Sure. So we obviously, as a student, we all put our OU Texas tickets on the Bursar account because you're $30,000 in debt. What's another $125 at this point? So we put it on the Bursar, didn't think anything of it. Then once the week comes back around, you would go to the box office in the stadium, pick it up. So last time I returned to OU Texas, we were like in the lower bowl. I remember going to the game with you, Dad. We were in the lower bowl section. And then when I returned 11 years later, for the first time, I was like maybe 5 seats over. It was kind of like everything came full circle. But I went with my friend and picked up the ticket. And I'll always remember this because I got the ticket. I was like, all right, where am I at? Section this. I can kid you not. I got 50-yard line tickets on row 25. So I gave my dad a call and said, hey, Dad, what do you think I'm sitting at? Oh, you're sitting in the higher bowl. You're sitting here. No, I'm sitting on the 50-yard line. And I always remember and went, remember what you said, Dad, of you little shit. I've had these tickets for so many years. I never managed to get the 50-yard line. And I have to say, having Texas fans shoulder to shoulder next to you, absolutely one of the funniest experience I had. I mean, obviously, as they filter out and you wave at them in a blowout game, that was also very fun. But yeah, completely random, completely off the ball. Like, I believe the 2012 game was when, what's his face threw a interception, and I saw the red like little phone they had on the side pickup, and someone was yelling in his ear because he was like holding it a little bit away. They were not happy. But it segues into my next question. Schooner Man, obviously you're on the field, you're with the Roughnecks, but when you're in the stadium, where do you prefer to sit? Do you prefer to sit in the upper bowl or do you prefer to sit in the lower bowl?
That's tough. Yeah, if I'm not on the field, I like to sit up right underneath this kind of psycho move. I like to sit right underneath the Jumbotron there in the end zone in the upper bowl.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like you get the whole experience. You get the sun beating down on you, and it's 120 degrees. It feels like you can't see any replays or anything because you have to turn completely around because there's no Jumbotron on the other side of the stadium. But you can see plays develop there. You can see, open running holes. You can see the big plays before they happen. Really is the best part about it. And it's pretty underrated. there's times where we set pretty close down, then you can't really see some things of that such. So I think a nice upper bowl is pretty fun.
Sure. Same question to you, Dad. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the upper bowl or do you prefer the lower bowl?
I just want a ticket. I don't care.
That's valid. But when you're at
really,
the game,
just as long as I had a ticket, I didn't care. Just to be in the bowl is something in itself. It's hard to explain unless you've gone to an OU Texas game. The excitement, the thrill, it's just a complete different set of circumstances. It's different than even going to an OU game in Norman. There's no comparison.
Oh, absolutely, because it's not only the largest stadium you've been to, it's half the crowd Crimson, half the crowd burnt orange.
Yes.
Obviously, when we're cheering, they are booing, and vice
Yes.
versa at this point. When the game is on the line, and I don't know which high-ranked games you've been to, but it Schoonerman said, when it's like the Caleb Williams game, when both teams want it and it's highly ranked, that environment is insane. That environment's bonkers.
Yeah,
now,
it is.
Now, I will say, I'm a lower bowl person. I like being down on the field. I like being close to the action. I like seeing that touchdown right there. That's always been my preferred. If I could genuinely have a seat, it would be on the 50-yard line just to have that banter and back and forth. However, Schoonerman, you are right when you say the upper bowl is very underrated, because in 2011, I remember there was a traveling Longhorn someone brought in from the fair, and you saw it make its way around the stadium, on the OU side, before finally it looked like they caught rabies as they right at kickoff, they ripped that thing apart. Cotton was going everywhere. Whatever happened to it, it got flung somewhere. I'm like, oh, it's that type of environment today. I guess this is what we're dealing with today. But you're right. The upper bowl, if you can be on the upper bowl as well, it is the perfect view with just how that stadium is set up and everything as well. But man, I wouldn't trade the lower as well. So
yeah, plus whenever they, not before they've done the renovations, but now that in the past you had those concrete ramps to walk up, and felt like it takes years off your life, but honestly it helped you walk off the wax cups that you hit before going into the stadium. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Which, fun fact, did you know that they announced today that there are no longer concrete ramps? It's all escalators now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know. I'm like, where was this? Maybe they'll fix the concession stands now at this point in the upper bowl. We'll see on that. So we talked about getting ready, going to the game at this point. Obviously, we all have different traditions, but I think all of us can agree, depending on the year, the traffic is always horrendous getting to that game. I think if we had to pick a single worst moment, it's the traffic going from Oklahoma City Lawton to Dallas because of the infamous Denton area. It adds 45 minutes to an hour. That traffic is atrocious. But once you make it to the fair, obviously everybody's crimson, cream, burnt orange. Dad, what do you prefer kickoff time? Do you prefer having an early morning kick, or do you prefer an afternoon kick?
Yeah. No, I like the afternoon kicks. I've been to the 11 o'clock ones. That means if you come in the night before on a Friday, which you have to leave by 7:30 to even get to the fair, and hope you don't hit a traffic jam or a wreck. And no, I like the 2:30 kickoff.
Yeah. Schoonerman, same question for you.
I don't know. I like the 11 a.m.s personally. I think the 11 a.m.s are pretty nice because you get to, there's nothing like waking up at 5:30 in the morning and then you have a wax cup beer and a corn dog at 6:30 for breakfast before going into the stadium.
That's the breakfast of champions.
Yeah, it's the 1 year where you can eat breakfast like a champion and then go into the stadium. It's pretty nice. I will say that if there was ever a chance they can make it a night kick, it would be the greatest college football atmosphere of all time if they could make it a night kick.
I agree with you, but I don't think that will happen at the Cotton Bowl.
Yes, correct.
Or at least not in my lifetime it won't.
Yeah. If they could do some upkeep around the fair and make it just one time, it would be the greatest college football atmosphere of all time.
Right. I've got a question for you. You were a roughneck, right?
Yes.
What's it like being on the field in this atmosphere?
Oh, it's nothing like it. You can any stories you hear from former players and things of that such. Like, there's no words to describe. You're walking down the tunnel, the famous tunnel. It's like steeper than anything you can be. And then you walk out and it's just pure chaos. Your whole crowd is cheering for you in the back. And then as soon as you cross that 50-yard line, you're just getting infamous boos. And so the banter back and forth between us and the Silver Spurs who take care of Bevo, just kind of the game within the game aspect of it is pretty cool. So, and especially pregame when, we're doing the State of Oklahoma song, firing off the shotgun. And they had just done their pregame where they fire a, cannon through the OU jersey. So when we turn around and fire a shotgun through one of the Texas jerseys, so just going back and forth with them, plus oh yeah, it's awesome. So plus that, and then we have the shave bet between the Roughnecks and Silver Spurs that's been going on for a long time. So that's pretty fun too.
Sure. Can you kind of explain that for people who may not know? Could you explain the shave bet?
Yeah, for sure. So it's a long-standing tradition that the president of the Roughnecks and the president of the Silver Spurs both meet up with each other at pregame as we're like walking around, kind of doing our thing, kind of meet each other, exchange handshakes, whether it's a firm handshake or one of those Michael Jordan, Larry Bird handshakes. But so we do that. The loser gets their head shaven in front of the opponent's student section. So there's nothing more than, when you're the president and your hair's on the line and your personal dignity is on the line, you want the team to win just as bad as you do, as all the fans do. So luckily I did not get my head shaven, but I've seen some up front and personal a couple of times that, it's you walk out and they're not professional barbers by any means. That's not the whole point. There's been some pretty bad hair designs, things that are, you're shaved, the whole front half of your head is shaven, but the whole back is left, or, the back of your hair is shaven, or one side is shaven. So it's made to you just come out a big loser for sure.
Sure. Just a reminder as well, chat, thank y'all for joining. Like, we have a small little group tonight, but I see the numbers keep fluctuating. Please invite people in, send the link, have questions and stuff for us. Just place it in the chat. We'll circle around to it as well. If you got anything for my dad or anything for Schoonerman, or when potentially Sean and Philip join later, for them as well. But so to circle back, so here's my question for you, Schoonerman. Day of, what time is your, well, I'll say my answer is I prefer 11 a.m. and it may be just because that's what I grew up with, but I always loved the theme of, like, it's the Red River Shootout. I like the high noon type of like showdown between both teams. Flip side of it, I like to enjoy the fair afterwards, but that's me. So to answer your question, Kyle, Sean, he may be joining later. He had some scheduled activities tonight, but he may hop on a little bit later. It'd be like 9 o'clock-ish his time, or 10 o'clock-ish his time, 9 o'clock-ish our time. So hopefully he joins us here in about 20, 25-ish minutes. I know someone from the Pride's going to join us, though, and he's going to kind of answer the same questions. But Schoonerman, so the day of, it's OU Texas, Saturday. Depending on kickoff time, what time are you up, Adam, getting ready, heading over to the stadium at that point?
Well, if College Game Day is there, it's a 4 a.m. wake-up call. So as a fan, we love College Game Day, but when you're working behind the scenes of College Game Day for an 11 a.m. kick, it's pretty crazy. But so 4 a.m. wake-up call, then we're bussing over to the stadium. do our pregame walkthrough, making sure everything's good on our end, on the sideline end, and that's probably around 7 a.m. For 6:37 a.m., nobody's in the stadium, and then so that's when we do the home field advantage. So we take those shotgun shells that we took some turf from our home stadium, and we pour those out on the 50-yard line, say a little prayer, and say a little saying for the team to wish them good luck and to take some home field advantage from our field to the Cotton Bowl. So we dump those out, and then we go back to the stables at the fair, get all the ponies all ready and everything else, and then get ready for our walkthrough of the crowd into the stadium, there's nothing like that one. So
absolutely. And to add what you said on that, I've heard from former and current, I guess current players, former at this point, that they said the ramp is probably like the real surreal moment, as you described it, because they said Texas is right next to us. We're both exiting, and then it just opens up, and people just don't understand. Sure, there's the stadium for OU where you're walking up the ramp into the stands, or you're on the field. This is different, where it's its own thing, the backdrop and everything. Dad, it's been 20-ish years since you've been to the game, but what was how early do you remember us getting up? Like, because I remember probably, oh goodness, you and Mom probably decided well before like the game day who was going to the fair and who was going to the game with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it was an 11 o'clock kickoff, we probably got it, and we stayed at the hotel. Of course, we got up probably 6 or 6:30. We had to feed you.
Well, that was optional. You just needed to get to the game.
That's right. And, and it was the traffic. We had to get dressed, do whatever, and leave before the traffic hit. But the traffic was already there. That was the thing.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the traffic, and it's gotten worse. The fair in itself was fun. It really was. And, but the fair never changed in 20 years. What you saw 15 years ago is what you saw today. It just never changed. I don't know what's happened, since then, but y'all had a good time and everything. And then, as we split the tickets. I went, and then we split the tickets between you and Megan. One would go 1 year. The other one would go the next year.
Correct. And for the chat that doesn't know, there's a 3-year difference between my sister and me. So when we went in the 90s, it was most of the time it was my sister going with Dad usually, and then I was with Mom. But 1982 Boomer Sooner has a question for everybody in here. What is your favorite Red River rivalry, Red River War, like state fair treat? His answer was the fried Dr. Pepper fried Oreo. I'll start and then kind of go around, because I know, Dad, you have a very funny story for that. But I would say mine is probably a throwback. It's one of my earliest memories going to the state fair of Texas. It was me walking around with Mom. Has to be a caramel apple with nuts on it. That is my go-to one. That's always been one of my favorites. Whenever I go to OU Texas, I try my best to find one. Because that gives back old school memories of all of us going down to OU Texas, all of us like enjoying the fair beforehand, and that's, to me, that is a staple for me. That is a classic. That one's kind of goes above and beyond just the normal like treat that I can find. Now, if you ask me now, like one that I tried or something like that, Belgian waffles. Sean recommended it to me. That has grown on me, as well as obviously funnel cake. That's a state fair staple. When during the Caleb Williams game, they had the winner of the fried food competition. It was like jumbo gumbo hush puppies, and it had seafood and everything. Fantastic. God. And mind you, these were not little hush puppies you would get from like a fish place or Long John Silver's. These were about fist size. So when you popped it, like broke it open, you saw the grease and all the juices pop out. It had like shrimp, it had veggies in it. Fantastic. 2 of them filled you up.
Right.
Remember that. It's fantastic. Now, I will say the one that is overrated, and I like it, but it depends on who makes it, is the deep fried Snickers. I like the deep fried Snickers, but depending on when you go, when during the day, they can be good or they cannot be. Now, the flip side of it is I will say one of my all-time favorites is and they show it on TV, but seeing it in person's another matter. When you first enter the day and you start seeing them flip like all the corn dogs over, you see, or meat and everything for like I'm trying to remember the stand. It was really cool where they're just like almost like a machine. They know the crowd that's coming. But Schooner Man, we'll switch to you, then I'll let Dad wrap up with the story. Favorite wartime treat?
Yeah, my favorite one, it's pretty hard to beat a nice jalapeno and cheddar filled Fletcher's corn dog. Fresh out there. Just that along with, the whole vibe of the fair is pretty nice. It is basic, but it's one of those like, when you're in school and go into the game, you're thinking about that Fletcher's corn dog on Tuesday of OU Texas week, and every day you're just like, man, I'm one day closer to that corn dog. So that one's good. A couple of years back ago, one that you're just saying, F it, I'm just gonna eat what I don't care what I eat. They had a funnel cake bacon queso burger.
Oh, God.
That was one of the greatest creativity treats that I could ever imagine, and it was very good. It's one of those where you order and you're like, that sounds like way too much, and then you eat it and you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. The concoctions they come up with for the state fair is it's why I tell everybody, yes, there's the state fair of Oklahoma, there's the state fair of Kansas, whatever. It's not Texas, where it is I think I can deep fry that. Let's try it. Like, it is everything. Now, it does obviously vary year to year, like what they have as a selection, what is available. But yeah, that's good. Now, Dad, I know your answer is a little bit different than the rest of us. So why don't you tell the audience in the chat like what your favorite treat is?
There wasn't a favorite food because I was superstitious and I would not eat before the game because I was scared to death I would get sick and wouldn't get to watch the game. I ate afterwards, but I did not eat at the fair. I drank soft drinks, stuff like that, but no food. Absolutely not.
Blasphemous. Everybody in the chat is just ashamed. Now, did you try fair food afterwards, though?
Oh, you mean afterwards? We had a little tradition. If we won, we went out and got steaks. And if we lost, we're going right back to Oklahoma.
Yeah, that is that I have to remind people of. That's why I always enjoyed OU Texas. If we won, we would go to a steak and ale. For those of you who don't remember it, that was kind of like the first true attempt at getting steak, like, I'm not going to say cheap, but like affordable steak to everyday, where it was not a fancy restaurant. Almost like before Golden Corral. If we lost, we just hope we got cold McDonald's on the way.
There you go.
Yep. We hope. So hopefully we have that tradition this year that we get another steak at this point. But did you have anything at the fair or anything though after the game?
No, I didn't eat anything after. No, I didn't.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if there was anything after the game or something that you picked up as we were headed out or anything, because I think
that's the problem. I didn't want to pick up anything. No, I was afraid to get sick or having to drive home sick or ill. Didn't want Mom to drive in the traffic or anything. No, I didn't eat.
Sure. Now that's a good question of kind of like talking about like the then and now. How is for you, Ed? How has this been different for now OU Texas versus kind of back in the day with Grandpa? Like, what was there anything when it was younger, like we would have on the our side of the family where Grandpa or Grandma would have a tradition or anything they would do?
Not that I remember. Now, no, there really wasn't. I was too young because Daddy died when I was 14, and not that I know of. I know Daddy listened to the radio. He had a little portable radio in his pocket, and if you remember back then they had earphones, and he listened to it on his earphones.
Yeah.
But that was the only thing.
Were you the one that told me that for OU Texas, like there would be y'all would grill out like the game before or something like that?
Wasn't me.
Okay, it may have been someone else for it.
Yeah, it could have been Grandma or something, but it wasn't me. Hey, Josh, I'm going to have to go. I've only got 6% power left on my phone, but it's been nice.
Sure, if we're gonna be on for another hour, so if you want to charge up and then hop back on, we'll be here.
Okay, Talk to y'all
Okay.
later. Boomer.
Sooner.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. That was a treat for my dad to join in, and maybe he joins in for the rest. We're still waiting on Philip and Sean, but I'll ask you the questions then, Schooner Man, at this point. So you arrive at the stadium. It is game time. Obviously, you see a lot during the games. You see a lot of awesome plays. You see a lot of disappointing outcomes. What is the single most memorable play you can think of that you have either witnessed in person or one you've seen on TV? What is your all-time favorite moment? Whoop, did I lose you? Well, I'll circle back around in a sec. I may have lost audio from Schooner Man, but I'll mention. I'll go ahead and mention mine. I think. Oh, did I? Are you back?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So if you didn't hear my question, you've been on the field, you've seen plays in person, you've seen plays on TV. What is the single best play, either in person or on TV, you have witnessed that is your all-time favorite play, favorite moment?
Yeah, in recent past would definitely be the Marvin Mims touchdown from Caleb Williams. Just because that one like kick-started the entire energy from the crowd. That like the comeback was very possible. I would say that one is pretty hard, and honestly is one of the better throws that I've seen in person in my eyes. So that one was pretty good. And then obviously the Dylan Gabriel corner of the end zone. We've gotten pretty spoiled recently with some good memories, but back in the day, the best one that comes up all the time is the 99-yard touchdown run from the Texas side all the way to the OU side. I think it was 20.
The Damian Williams.
Yeah, the Damian Williams.
Yeah.
That one is every time that comes up, you're like, man, that one was so cool.
Is it just because Kenny Stills wipes out that Texas?
That one was He just wipes him out. The Trey Millard jump hurdle truck is always fun. Those are some pretty good memories that just come up to mind.
Absolutely. See, so that's the weird part for me is I was there for all those games you just mentioned. Here's the problem. I'm on this side of the ball. Remember, I was on the 50-yard line. I saw Trey Millard basically hop, but we didn't see the actual play from it because he was right there and the Texas sideline was right there. We actually couldn't really see it until they replayed. So the people around who didn't see, you almost got like an echo effect where people cheer, were like, what happened? And then it turned on to the video, and then we go, oh my gosh, like there it was. Same thing, flip side. The Marvin Mims, the shoestring catch, didn't see it. It was on our side, but because we were in the upper bowl, we couldn't tell because of how everything was angled. It was only when they put it on replay, we saw how incredible of a catch that was, and Texas fans were vehement that he was out because of his shoestring. We're like, that's not how it works, guys. It's the shoe. It's not the shoestring.
TV calls, one of the greatest OU Texas TV calls is the Baker Mayfield Mark Andrews game sealing touchdown. That was in 2018 or 2017.
The iconic one with the Texas fans in meltdown mode.
Yeah, meltdown mode. But the call, I think it was trying to think of that broadcaster's name, but that's just one of the greatest, calls. Baker Mayfield winds up, Mark Andrews, and that's awesome. So especially that he just sealed the game to just play-by-play calls. Pretty good.
Absolutely. I'd have to say, and I remember thinking of it, I remember the Damian Williams one because I vaguely-ish remember like Texas got the safety and then we like ran it back for the touchdown. Essentially, it was like it's going to be one of those type of games, I guess, at this point for it, but I vaguely remember that one. But I do remember the TV call. It's like, he beats this guy, he might be gone. Williams touchdown. It was great. It was great. I have to say, mine has to be Kennedy Brooks's run to seal OU Texas 2021. That's probably my all-time favorite one with it, because I had that angle right in front of me. You saw the lineup. It's like you saw the play build up. You saw him patiently wait, and then he just bolted. Like, our side of the stadium, just, you could have had an earthquake with how loud that was at that point. And I think you were on the field, weren't you, for that one?
Oh yeah, that one was crazy. It was game sealing touchdown. Just you thought, well, we're just gonna line it up and kick the game winning field goal, and then he just takes off and just says, "Yeah, we're just gonna score a touchdown instead." So
absolutely, and it's what I try to tell people, that when you're there, that loud scream you hear, it was deafening. Like, OU knew they won after that. There was no comeback for Texas at that point. Obviously, I mean, there are so many different plays we could select from throughout the years. There's obviously the Superman play, the infamous one that probably defined OU Texas, which you can't not do today, but he did it then, and it's obviously down in OU Texas lore at this point. There's the Adrian Peterson breakout game. Oh, that's so many. There's a lot of games that we could select from OU Texas from it. So let's kind of talk a little bit. Philip I got a message from Philip. He should be joining us any moment at this point. So we'll have kind of a fan roughneck pride of Oklahoma, like kind of talking Sean if he joins us. Once you win, what happens with the Roughnecks at this point? What is all right, OU has just won the game. What is the after cleanup, essentially, or after the shave at this point? Is it just get the ponies, get everything, and head on home? Do y'all stick around for the fair? What's y'all's usual tradition at that point?
Yeah, usually half and half will stay, half will go back with the university. So you can choose whichever one. I personally love it. I mean, it really depends on the result. If we won the game, you definitely want to stick around for the fair, try to do anything you can. You're finding rides. Since you rode down there, you didn't get one back, so you'd find a ride. And if you found one, then you got to stay around the fair and hang out. But if we lost, it's like an easy way. I'm just gonna go back with the university and just sit and wonder how we just lost that game. For sure.
Yeah.
But definitely putting the ponies up and making sure the trailer's all good to go, head back, and it's pretty easy after the game's done. So
sure, I'm just assuming it's just a long day from 4 a.m. call time to the game.
Game day's there. It's like, man, you see a roughneck after the game, just pat him on the back and say, "Hey, you're a champion today." So definitely,
you cheered like a champion, sir.
Yeah.
So what if you stick around the fair and stuff, do you go to the car shows? Do you go try the food? Do you go through the Ferris wheel? Like, do you kind of get a plethora of everything? And how often do you stay at the fair? Do you just also, like, was it a one-time deal, or like do you try to stick around at the fair every time?
If you stick around, you're probably hitting up the beer barn over there. And definitely hitting up some PBR tickets, $3 PBR tickets.
Yeah.
And you'd probably stick around quite some time. The best, most underrated part is watching the rest of the college football games at the fair. Is pretty cool. Like, I know in recent past, like Texas A&M played Bama in the Johnny Manziel game. I remember watching that at the fair, the state fair, just kind of watching those games. So that's pretty fun. You kind of just hang around all day and then head back afterwards. So
sure. I think you're in agreement with me. The traffic going back, even go there, it's bad. Going back, it's bad. Here's my next question for you. Flip side of it, OU loses. What is the worst part if an OU game, if you're there when OU loses?
Oof. Worst part is walking through the fair to get to the bus.
Sure.
You're walking through just mountains of burnt orange, and people are just, yelling at you, saying, "Oh, you sucks," and going through the entire way. Your president's head is already shaven by this point, or halfway shaven. Just hearing him mouth off the entire time, going all the way back, and that's one of those where you just make sure you pack some headphones just in case we were to lose the game.
Sure.
That way you can just put them on and just keep on walking. So
Sure.
that part's definitely pretty bad.
Yeah, it's funny you say that as well, because that seems to be the most consistent part with everybody. Is even the vendors don't like when Texas wins, because they said when OU wins, the fans stick around. They come spend money. They get souvenirs. They go get more food. They lose, everybody leaves, because for Texas, it's the state fair. They really don't want to stick around for the state fair for it. So, like, for them, they just want to go home, and everybody loses. So, yes, people are right. When Texas wins, everybody loses at that point. But, man, tell me then, I'm kind of going through the process of the day. So we win OU Texas. We make it back. Do y'all get pictures with the golden hat? Do you get to wear it or anything as well?
Those will usually happen the year afterwards, if they don't happen on the field. Sometimes the players are really nice and let us take pictures with them. Sometimes, that thing's going straight to the locker room, and good luck. So that will usually happen before the next season at like our annual picture day for across the program. And so we can kind of take some pictures, just like they use it as a recruiting tool. We use the same kind of setup. As we didn't earn it, but we're definitely taking pictures of it for sure.
Sure. What is it like then for the next usual home game, the homecoming game from OU Texas? The atmosphere from the crowd and everything. Like, we made it through the challenge, whether it's undefeated through October or through OU Texas, or we beat OU Texas. What is it like coming back to the home crowd at that point after a Texas victory, or after an OU victory over Texas?
It's awesome, because that everybody just senses it could be a special year and the potential of it. So everybody's kind of feeding off of each other. If it's the very next week after OU Texas, man, it's a long 2-week haul, and you're just praying for a bye week that next time. So,
absolutely.
But everybody's kind of just hoping or coming together and realizing that this team can be special. Or if it doesn't go our way, then man, you kind of feel deflated afterwards.
Absolutely. I want, as I mentioned, we were going to have more guests and stuff join tonight. Philip, I want to welcome you back onto the live stream. For those of y'all that know, Philip is an alumni of the wonderful Pride of Oklahoma, and was on the show a couple of years back to talk a little bit about the Pride, like kind of preseason. But jogging with Schoonerman, I also wanted to bring Philip on to kind of discuss how OU Texas is from the perspective of a member of the Pride of Oklahoma as well. So, guys, if you have questions for Philip and questions about like the Pride of Oklahoma, please throw it in the chat and we'll ask it as we go. So, first, Philip, it is great to see you again, my man. It's great to see you, Boomer Schooner. As I mentioned before earlier in the live stream, it is OU Texas week. I'll jump right in. Kind of walk us through a day in the member of the Pride of Oklahoma from the moment that class goes out, or the week before, I guess, when you're waiting for or playing for OU Texas, all the way to the end of the game. Kind of walk us through what it's like for the Pride to prep from the last home game to OU Texas at this point.
So, mind you, it's been about 15 years since I've done this, so I'm sure it's probably changed to some degree since then. So, anyways, the way Texas Week has usually started out whenever I've been in it was on that Monday, the freshmen are told to do different things. We'll just call it that. And, as we deem that their initiation into the Pride, because that's kind of the big game of the year. And then that Friday, we all get on the bus and we head down to Dallas. But on the way down there, we always rehearse at some small town in Oklahoma. My last year in, we did it in Duncan. So we
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we do a 2-hour rehearsal in Duncan, and it's a big event where the entire town comes out, and they, a lot of them are OU fans, and so a lot of them are just it's an event for them. And then after that's done, we make the rest of the way down to Dallas, check into the hotel, and then have a big banquet for us. And then after that's done, we suit up in all of our uniforms. And there's two places that we would always go to. The first place would be to the OU Club of Dallas kickoff party, which I think now it's at the Omni and Addison. I don't know. They've changed since I was in it. But all that to say, they have the entire band in this giant hotel lobby, and it's just loud. It's rambunctious. You got a lot of people screaming. It's the whole 9 yards.
Sure.
And after that, they would take us to a local high school, and we perform our halftime show at a local high school football game in the area. My last year, we did it at Mesquite High School. It's recruiting. Don't even hide it.
Yeah.
And then after that, they have this big party for at the hotel with like casino games. Obviously it's not real, chips, things like that. Sumo wrestling. It's just a way for us to blow off steam, and that goes until about 2:00 in the morning. And then they're waking us up right at 5 a.m. because usually we'd have an 11 a.m. kickoff. Don't you all miss those? Hold on, sorry. I'm having.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Anyways, so we get to the Cotton Bowl probably around 8:00 in the morning. We go through our motions as far as just getting off the bus, and then we warm up our instruments. And then before then, we do a quick little pregame concert, which I don't know if you all know that green building. There's a big tree next to it. We are usually arced up underneath there. And then we'll gather up and then parade into the Cotton Bowl through all the fans. And that's just an event because you have people doing this number, saying things that you wouldn't want your mother to say. It's a whole experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then once we get into the Cotton Bowl, we get settled in our seats, and then we after that they take us to that other side of the field because that's where our pregame show starts. And right before we march onto the field, I mean, again, you're hearing things that you probably shouldn't be repeating from those people in orange on the other side of the Cotton Bowl. And we perform our pregame show, and then, kickoff. Here we go. So game usually goes as it goes. My last year in, we won it 28-20. That was the one where we had the muff punt with James Winchester recovering it. Then after that, we have a couple hours to spare at the fair, enjoy all the corn dogs and flatbread at your disposal, and after that, we'll just get on the bus and head home.
Yeah. It's just like with Schooner Man, it's a full day for the Pride and the Roughnecks. Now,
dude, it's like a full couple days.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, based on how everyone has said, it seems like once Saturday, the 2-minute mark hits from the previous week, you're on OU Texas mode. It's an event, and you being a student, just like Schoonerman was and myself, it was almost all right. We got to make it through this week of school, and then on Thursday is when all the festivities really pick up and everything. Now, though, for when you're in the stadium, when the game starts, how is it different for the Pride being the home team versus the away team for it?
So the only real difference is when you perform during pregame and halftime. So always the away team always performs first, and the home team always performs last in pregame because they have to do the national anthem.
Gotcha.
And so that's really the only difference. And same thing with halftime. That one really doesn't really matter because you don't have any of this whole, Star Spangled Banner or anything like that. But yeah, pregame's really the one where it actually does matter because the home team's always going to perform the national anthem. So in this case, Texas is going to perform it. Last year we did it. It goes back and forth between bands.
Is there one that you prefer over the other, being the home team or away team, or is it doesn't really matter?
I kind of prefer being the away team because that means we can get in our seats and settle faster before the teams run out. Because whenever you're the home team, and this is, again, they time it this way on purpose. If you're the home team also runs out last. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the away team goes out first and the home team comes out next. So that gives the home band of time to be able to get adjusted in their seats and this, that, and the other. And so I don't know. I just like being the away band. That way we could just get settled first and watch both teams run out because I just think that's fun.
Sure. We actually got a question in the chat for you, Philip.
What's that?
1982 Boomer Sooner asks, how cool is it getting to spend the game with field access, like being on the field with everything happening? Like, how surreal is it that you get to like walk through the tunnel? You get to be part of like the lore of OU Texas.
So I can tell you, my first year doing it, when I got on the field, I was wondering what I got myself into. Because you sort of have this out of body experience when you're in the middle of just that many people. It honestly becomes overload. But once you get settled in the second year, you start to like, realize like how cool it is, and just to be surrounded by all those people. And it's definitely an experience that, whoa, where'd my camera go? That I won't forget.
Sure.
There we go. But yeah, it's one of those things that, yeah, it's really hard to describe. Just from the very beginning, where you're getting off the buses, you're getting, cheered for, harassed, this, that, and the other. And then, right up until kickoff, you have all your friendly people behind you, but during pregame, not so much. I will tell you, when you're marching down the field to Oklahoma, it is very eerie to hear the chants go from boos to cheering, because you're starting off on that side of the field and then you go off to your friendly side of the field.
Absolutely. What about Scooter Man? I'm going to ask you the same question. Was it kind of surreal for your first year being on the field as a roughneck, or did you have kind of the same feeling from when you were a freshman all the way to your senior year? Like, you're here, you're amped up, you're ready to go.
Yeah, I would say as someone that, grew up just, a big diehard OU fan, I would say that it never gets old. You never get used to it when you're on the field, but definitely that first year, I can definitely agree on that. It's you feel like you're blacking out the entire time, and then halftime hits and you get your food, your catered food, and you're like, oh, we're already at halftime? Like, what's going on? But as it goes on, especially like if we're super heavy favorites and team's not playing well, then you kind of helps you snap into it a little bit more. But it definitely is quite an adjustment for sure.
Sure. Philip, back to you. Here's my next question for you. So Roughnecks, they're all part of the tradition. Everybody's part of the lore. Everyone's getting the crowd. How does the Pride during the game keep the crowd engaged, keeps everybody going? Like, do y'all have certain routines, certain like stuff memorized of like, we need the crowd cheering, it's getting a little the energy's going down, play Boomer Sooner? Like, is there a process? Same thing, and I'll circle back around.
It's very much about the drum major.
Man, I'll ask you the same one too. Sorry.
It's very much about the drum major reading the room.
Sure.
Because if we're losing, I mean, if you notice it, just go to Boomer Sooner and just keep playing it. And then occasionally we'll turn around and play towards the people in the stands just to, keep the energy in there. But if you're winning, it's not hard to keep that crowd pumped. It's just mainly riding that momentum. And it's honestly up to the band director, the drum major's discretion on what we can play. Because I don't know if you guys knew this, the Pride doesn't have flip folders, and there's a reason behind that. It's because every single bit of music that they play is memorized, because we don't want to be spending time flipping through flip folders if we want to be able to play something. So every bit of music that either is played in the stands or on the field is completely memorized. That's why whenever you undoubtedly, whenever the play is over, we're able to get up and play, because drum major, they usually let out some sort of hand signal for whatever we're going to play, and they just go for it.
Sure. And that's something everybody's watching. Like, the drum major does the Boomer Sooner one, they're already ready to go at this point. Is Texas I don't know for Texas specifically, but do they do the kind of the same thing with like keeping like stuff memorized so they're ready to go?
No, it's like that for every game.
Okay. I want to make sure like if that was like specific or if this was everything.
That's just how the Pride operates.
Sure. What my next question for you then is, so it's easy to keep the crowd engaged when we're winning. Obviously, it's difficult when losing. What about when it's close? So you mentioned like the 28-20 game when both teams, like, nobody's left the stands. Nobody, obviously, it's not a 2011, 2012 outcome. How is it right there, like making sure like people are cheering, making sure people are like keeping everybody engaged, I guess, with that when the game is on the line.
That was what our expectations were. We were expected to be the biggest fans in the entire stadium. When we weren't playing, we were cheering. That was just straight up how we were expected to play, whether we were up 50 or whether we were down 40. That was just the expectation. That was the expectation of us.
Sure. And again, listening from like Schoonerman, listening to yourself, like everyone kind of seemed like they had their role. Schoonerman, I'll ask you this as well. Same question. Roughneck side of it, how did y'all keep the fans engaged and stuff as well? Did y'all focus solely on like the lower bowl, or did y'all like really like we're just like going to be standing on like near the end zone, things like that?
Yeah, it depends on what side of the gun line you're on. So, that bowl in circles around us. So if you're on the right side of the gun line, you're really focused on that entire bowl, that lower bowl section. So like third down chants are like super big, holding the threes up, same with the pride, making sure you get all the crowd involved with that, with the third downs, things of that such, fourth downs, turnovers. We're shooting every chance we can get to not hear that big cannon go off. So turnovers, we're shooting, trying to hype the crowd up for those touchdowns, everything else like that. So, but yeah, if you're on the left side, you're really focused on that lower bowl. You can kind of pick out, the biggest cheerleaders there in a couple sections and kind of feed off of them and get the other people involved and things of that such. So kind of
sure.
And then if the team's doing great, then you've got it easy. But it's really whenever the team's not, you're pretty important to keep that going.
Sure. Again, that I've always wondered that of like, I know the players even, it's like try to keep the crowd in it. We don't want it where there's even a lull moment because that momentum can swing really fast in that 4-hour span. We had some earlier questions, Philip, and I'm going to ask them to you as well. What is your favorite memory or favorite experience with OU Texas?
I got two parts for this one. I got my favorite memory, and then I got my welcome to OU Texas memory.
Sure.
My favorite memory was obviously winning in 2010 because, I've been in the Pride for 3 years, lost the first two. The first one was that 45-35 game they keep on trying to remind us of. And then, just whenever we clinched it in 2010, that was probably my favorite one that we had. Now, the one that said welcome to OU Texas was that first one in 2008. So if anyone in this chat can remember, it was the Sam Bradford versus Colt McCoy show, them two going back and forth. And if you remember correctly, we went up 14-3 early in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what happened right after that?
I mean, I want to say it was Shipley.
That was it. So let me paint the picture for you. Where the Pride is stationed in the stadium, they're in that end zone, just on the ground. And the way for us to see the actual gameplay that's happening is we can't look on the field because it's just a flat plane. You can't tell what's happening one way or another. You have to look at that screen behind you. But I remember on that particular play, I didn't think anything was going to happen on that kickoff. But what you see in front of you is just this flat field, but then that whole wall of burnt orange. And so we kick off to that side of the field, and there's like a 2 or 3 second, felt like 2 or 3 second delay. And then that entire side of the stadium just starts going bananas, and I have no idea what's happening, but I know it's bad. And then next thing you know, you see Jordan Shipley run the back of the end zone. And I'm like, oh, dang, we got a ball game with us.
Yeah, and we did. It was definitely a back and forth. I wish we would have won that one because of the infamous, like you said, Bradford Colt McCoy matchup with it, but it was not to be that day.
Hey, who won the Big 12 that year?
Yeah. Next one is from whether you attended it or whether you saw it on television. Favorite all-time OU memory for like the actual game itself.
Superman.
The play that defines all of OU lore at this point.
Mm-hmm. That one.
Why that one? Was that one you watched on TV? Were you at the game for that one?
No, I wasn't. No, my first OU Texas game was that first one I was in a band member. No, I remember watching that one. I was in middle school. We watched it, and it was a tight game, and everyone had memories of the 63-14 the year before, and we thought it was going to be something like that. It was not. It came down right down to that. We're like, okay, that was awesome.
Yeah,
I just remember
it
my dad and
was.
brother jumping up and down in the living room and scaring the dog. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. It's been so long now at this point. Like there's little certain things like I remember the what's it called? The Trey Millard like hurdle, but I don't remember vaguely the Damian Williams run. Like it's starting to get to that point. It makes me a little sad of like, man, I gotta actually go back and watch the TV now.
Same
For
game.
it. But
It was the same game.
It is. That's what shocked me. I was like, wait, that is. Now you've gone as a Pride member. Have you gone to the game as a fan or someone in the stands?
Oh yeah. So I went every year from, well, I didn't go in 12, but I went every year from 11 to 17 minus 2012. And that hadn't been since. But yeah, my last year was Baker's last year where he had the Mark Andrews dump off for the last clincher. But yeah, I've been there, and that one was probably my favorite one. So that was a good way to cap it. I figured
Sure.
I'm good dealing with this anymore. And so I just haven't gone since then.
Is it mostly just because of the traffic and just like the
I mean, when
overwhelming
you get into
basically
your
everything?
30s, you really don't want to. You really don't want to have to deal with the logistics of getting to and from the fair. Which I mean, to some that's there, but for me, I'm just like I just rather just sit on my couch and watch it. There will come a day
Sure.
where I will actually go back down there at some point, but I'm just like I'm good with taking a few years off and just sitting in the comfort of my own home and watching it.
You like having access to air conditioning and snacks and everything 5 feet away versus at the fair. I'm assuming it's one of those two. If someone had a ticket, be like, hey, you can just ride with us. You don't have to worry about driving. It's like, oh yeah, I'll go in a heartbeat type deal.
Yeah. I don't know. If I was given a ticket, I'd do it. I'd have to do a hard think on that because I mean, I'd probably do it if I was just given a ticket. But
Yeah.
But the other
My
part of
dad.
it is, honestly, the other part of it isn't because it's not because OU Texas is just logistics to the nth degree. It's because we have all these new teams that were playing in the SEC, and I'm like, I've done Texas before. That's cool and all, but I got all these other places that I really want to see. Like last year, I went to Auburn. Next week, I'm going to South Carolina, and there's all these other games that you know, kind of take priority over Texas for me right now.
Sure.
I mean, obviously, OU Texas is the biggest game of the year, obviously. But
Sure.
I just want to be able to see like new environments, and then eventually, whenever I get to like my 40s, I'll eventually start going back to that game, God willing. But yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at right now when it comes to that.
Sure. Concerning the game itself with it. So with you being there from 2011, 2017, do you prefer the upper bowl or do you prefer the lower bowl to view the game?
Lower.
Which
lower.
One? Lower. Yeah. It's funny. There seems to be a split where it's like Scooter Man and my dad were like upper bowl, both of us lower. Why lower bowl?
Oh, just because it's louder down there. And my last year, I sat in the upper bowl probably around the 30 or 40-yard line, and it was okay. It wasn't but when you're down there with like the students and the ruckus crowd, that's where it's a lot more fun.
Sure.
Because when you're sitting in the upper deck, you're kind of sitting with people that like to sit the whole game.
Yeah, I can see that. Depending on like how close the game is and everything, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's close, both sides are standing up.
Yeah. What about kickoff time? Do you prefer the morning or do you prefer afternoon? 2:30. Are you saying that as a former Pride member, being like, yes, I don't have to want call time at 5 a.m., or it's I actually enjoy it later in the day?
Well, actually, as a Pride member, it didn't really matter because if we have an 11 a.m. kickoff, that means we just go straight to the Cotton Bowl. But we have a 2:30 kick. That means we have to do a rehearsal beforehand. So we're getting up at the same time regardless.
Sure.
So
sure, and that makes sense.
So honestly, the kickoff time as a Pride member didn't really matter much.
Sure. Well, I'm going through all the question stuff, just catching you up from where we were at. The chat asked this earlier as well. Favorite food in the state fair? Is there a traditional one you always manage to go get?
Well, you gotta get a corn dog, but probably the most unique thing that was really, really good was they had deep fried Thanksgiving dinner one year where they had
That's
like
good.
turkey and the dressing and the mashed potatoes like all fried, and it had like a side of cranberry sauce with it. It was so bad for you, but it was so good.
That seems to be everybody's like different ones. Like we're just gonna experiment. We're gonna throw some fried food out there and see what sticks at this point.
Right?
Yeah. How being removed now from the game though, from so long from like graduating stuff, what has kind of changed for that you have seen from OU Texas? Or is it still the same game? It's just it's the first or second week of October. We know who we got to go face at that time.
I wouldn't say really anything's really changed very much. I mean, the players have gotten a lot younger.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, yeah, the game really hasn't changed much. I mean, you know what you're getting yourself into. You're going to be immersed in that whole fair deal, and yeah, I mean, it really hasn't changed, and that's the nice thing about it.
Yeah. Kind of circling back, I'm going to go back and forth now. Schooner Man, is there a tradition or something you do before the game, or is there a tradition that you always make sure that you go do, whether it was as a roughneck or post roughneck, to make sure like, yeah, this is what's special to me? Is there anything like you do with that?
Buc-ee's is an absolute must. You have to hit up Buc-ee's.
Sure. Sure.
Definitely have to go there. Before the game, I would say there's like appearances that you usually are doing, like as a roughneck. So you got like the OU Club of Dallas type stuff. Those are always fun because you can kind of connect with alumni down in that area, things of that such. And then as a fan, meeting up with all of your other fellow buddies at the beer barn at 6 a.m. is probably a pretty underrated tradition to do. And then going and walking into the stadium with the schooner, through the buses, after following the buses going into the stadium is probably like, it's very underrated.
Yeah.
Going in, because one side of it's like a 2-lane highway and you're driving straight through it. One side is all Texas fans just yelling any name, calling you any name in the book. The other are like a bunch of OU fans ready to do like anything for you to cross that line and just start brawling there. So just having the banter back and forth through that 2-lane highway is pretty fun too. It's just electric to go through. So it's pretty cool.
Sure. Philip, same question for you. Is there any game day tradition you do or did it with the Pride, or is there something now that you keep up with from year to year to make sure that you kind of mark the occasion that it is OU Texas?
I mean, one of the things I would do after I was in the Pride is I would always go down the night before, and we always just, because a lot of the people that I would go with were former band members, and so we'd always just get together and just, enjoy the same things that we would do when we were in the Pride. Like, I mean, we'd go to the OU Club of Dallas party, and then we'd go
Yeah.
to like the high school where they were performing at, just because, I mean, we'd be in outsider looking in, and it's nice to be able to enjoy that without having to be trucked from one place to another. And then whenever the night ended, we just we'd be able to go off on our merry way and just do whatever we wanted that night, whatever the night called for. And then, yeah, that's kind of my tradition, just being able to go down the day before and just, having a good time with some of my old buddies.
I think that's where I'm at, as well as like meeting up with people I haven't talked to in a year or 2 or 3, and be like, hey, it's OU Texas. Let's hang out or go meet up with people down there and walk around the fair for it. I mean, I have the tradition of if we win, go out and get a steak. That's been in the family for years type of deal. But like the camaraderie, I think it's almost like a family reunion where you get to contact people, you get to talk with people. Where do you think the team's at, or do you remember this? I think that's where I'm kind of at too. For it.
Yeah. Are you going down this year?
No, if Dad mentioned it earlier on the live stream, tickets have just gotten expensive, and how me and Dad split the season tickets, and we did not make it from the raffle to get into the raffle. So no, not this year. If tickets were cheaper, I go, but man, it's hard to justify $300-400 for it if you're not a season holder and just can get the face value.
Right.
Last one I was at was the Caleb Williams game for it, and that was a while back, and that was
a fun one to be at.
Oh man, it was, as Schoonerman can attest, that last 16 minutes of the game, I think that is my equivalent to y'all's OU Texas Tech 2008. There has been no energy that has matched that from OU and Texas, because both sides were just screaming Boomer Sooner, Texas fight. Like, both teams wanted that game badly for it. And as the crowd got ramped up, you saw the energy transfers of the players. The transfer went back to energy. That, what you mentioned about the upper bowl, that last 16 minutes, nobody sat down in the upper bowl for that. That was, everybody was up. Everybody was screaming. I saw people like start banging on your bench. We need to make this as loud as we can. Absolutely the best game. It's like, yeah, I haven't returned since then just because I don't want to pay $300, $400, $500 for a ticket. But man, it's hard to take away that OU Texas energy when it all comes together. It's one of the best. The same thing for like the 2011 or 2012 games, where seeing the Texas side gone, you can't repeat that energy. It's one of the best feelings ever. It's great.
Every week of OU Texas, I always set my cover photo to the half-empty Cotton Bowl with the good half bill.
Absolutely. That was, I did, unless my mic went in and out, that was the 2012 or 2011 game.
12. Where
12,
like Brett
yeah.
Musburger took his telestroke and was like, well, look at this hat right here.
Yeah. You make me think of the 2011 game where Zambivos turned his back on the Longhorns and said, enough of that.
Yeah.
That's great. We'll start with you, Philip, as well, and we'll just kind of round table. Do you have any fun or interesting stories from OU Texas with it? Something off the wall, something that's fun to talk about.
The last couple of years, I've been doing the scene setter, so you're gonna like this one this weekend.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't realize that. Yes, you've been working on the scene setters. How has that been?
It's been fun, especially whenever you're winning.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just wrapped up the Texas one a couple days ago, and so it's been a good one. I can't let out any secrets, but
right. I wouldn't ask that. But I can ask for previous ones. How's it been working with Toby, getting those ready? Y'all probably have a set schedule of, you need to come in and record at this time. This is ready to go.
So they do that on their own. So what happens is, typically on Monday or so, I receive the raw audio that Toby records himself in the radio studio. But then they send that audio that he records along with whatever highlights they chose for that week to Learfield, so like the governing body of the OU radio broadcast.
Yeah.
And then I'm on the receiving end of the meshed together audio, and I'm just send it to me, and they say, okay, make a video. And so some weeks it's easier than others. Texas is one I usually bring the fire for, though.
Sure. Well, since you do the scene setters, I'm assuming it's every scene setter. Like, it's not you get to pick a lottery game for which game you want to do. It's every scene setter.
Yeah, I've done every single one of them for the 2024 season, and then I've done everyone this year up until, well, I'm going to be doing all of them for this year too. So I did.
Awesome.
So if you guys look back at the scene setters for 2024 and 2025, all of those have been mine.
Awesome. I will say the Michigan one was fire. That one was fantastic. That I woke up to that, saw it. I'm like, gotta watch. Fantastic. That was great. That one was a great one.
I'll tell you the secret to it, though. You know who I run it through before I, make any last minute changes?
Sure. Who do you run it through? I mean, there's many guesses, but I'm like, it's probably one I'm not going to guess.
My better half.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She
will have watch it. She gives me critiques, and then I fix it up and make it cooler. Awesome. Because she's not an OU fan. Well, yeah.
You're slowly working.
Yeah, I'm slowly correcting her. But yeah, I run it by her first, and then she gives me her pointers, which usually, thankfully, it's not that much. But no, she keeps me straight on them half the time.
But that actually is a good kind of thing of like having an unbiased person like give you critique for it. That's actually like really good. That's probably why they're so fantastic. Hey, you'll be proud of me. I've been when you mentioned your wife, I have been working on a family for 10 plus years to make them OU fans. I finally this year got them to be OU fans. Here's the catch. They're not from the United States. They're international people that I've known through conventions, and they live in Germany. And they said, I see everything you post. We're going to stay up and watch the Michigan game this seems to be a big game. Can you like kind of tell us about it? It's been so fun to like walk them through OU football. They were talking about OU Texas this year, and they're like, why does Texas have a cow as their mascot? Cows are eaten. Like, isn't that a lousy mascot? I'm like, yes, it is. It's been fantastic just because they don't know and they don't understand some concepts like over here conferences. That's not a thing at all. And it has taken many times to like break down like what a conference is to them and why we do certain things versus them where it's like soccer or football or soccer or anything for it. But slowly but surely, they're dedicated. They have stayed up since I think the Michigan game for them was a 2 a.m. kick, and they stayed up for it. And they watched all of it, and they had a blast. They're like, we don't understand a lot of the concepts.
You said Germany, right?
Yeah, in Germany. It's 7 hours ahead.
Yeah, it's 7 hours ahead. I lived in Germany once, so I was just doing the math.
Yeah. So you understand like if I want to participate, it's going to be
Speaking of Germany, you want to know what game I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch?
A Hawaii game.
No, the 2005 national championship between us and USC.
Were you in Germany at that time, or what? Were like?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I'm sorry you had to get up for that game.
Yeah, I was too. So my brother and I got up. I mean, obviously it was the 04 season, 05 Orange Bowl. But yeah, I remember my brother and I got up for it at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and we scored first. We're like, oh, this is gonna go well, and then USC just laid down the hammer, and we just looked at each other at halftime. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. We're like, dude, I got school in the morning. I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, I remember that game of it starting early. OU got ahead, and that's all she wrote after that. I told my dad that this game sucked. He's like, yeah, this game sucked.
Yeah, I got the next morning to see the final score. I'm like, yeah, okay, click.
Yep. See, that's how I felt with that OU Georgia game. I was out on a trip and they were doing the replay on it in Utah. I went, nope, we need to change this outcome now. I have a funny story. So in the OU Texas Caleb Williams game, after the game was over, and for the chat that didn't know, Scooter Man had to head out for the evening. He said, "Boomer Sooner, guys. He would enjoy being here, and we'll have him back on to talk more Roughneck stuff eventually." But we have Philip here, guys. If you have more questions for him, throw it in the chat, and we'll answer as many as we can over the next couple minutes. But story I had is after the OU Texas game, so it was already a whirlwind getting to that Caleb Williams game because that was the year before was COVID year, and the ticket office said if you gave up your seat for the year for COVID, you were guaranteed OU Texas tickets.
Yeah.
So Dad obviously did that. He had no plans to go. I had to work pandemic stuff, so there was no way we could go to the home games that year. So easy choice. So following year, we got the OU Texas tickets. I didn't actually have any plans to go to that game.
Right.
We had a friend of mine who wanted to go, and we sold him the tickets. Well, no joke. The Friday of, he couldn't go because he was on not medical leave, but like the medical that he was scheduled. It was an emergency schedule. He had to be on it. Yeah, essentially. Yeah. And he was a student at the time. So that it's not something he could just say, I'm not going to go. So I was able to get the tickets back. And a friend of mine, we were like, let's do it as a day trip. Let's go down there. Let's go have fun. We don't know what to expect from this game, but we'll see what happens. So this was like a 2 a.m., 3 a.m. call time, kind of similar to the Pride. We wake up and we make it down there. So go through the day. Everything was fun. I remember as we were leaving the fair, though, I wanted a picture in front of Big Tex. I haven't got one in a long time, and that was the new one versus the one that burned down a while back. Yeah. And we went over, and I went in front, and we all got the pictures and everything. And my friend said, "You almost got us killed, and your phone chucked into the fountain." I'm like, what happened? Like, did I do something wrong? They're like, yes, you did something wrong. She's like, do you not know what you did? I went, no, I just stood in front. She's like, Josh, you handed your phone to Texas fans and asked them to take a picture in front of you in front of Big Tex, which was fine until you threw the horns down. She said the face on the group just got angry at that point. And she said, what made it worse the photo didn't come out, so you asked them to take it a second time, and they were ready to chuck your phone. They did not, but you almost got us killed. I'm like, wow, I'm not an observant person at all, but that's fantastic.
That's why you always hang in front of the people that were in the same color as you.
Exactly. And the thing was, I don't remember that. I don't remember like them wearing burnt orange or anything. It may have been just regular fairgoers or something like that. But she said they were Texas fans. Maybe it was like under like shirts or something like that for it. But yep, almost got killed in the State Fair of Texas for asking for an innocent picture. I stand by my horns down.
Yeah, it's like, let's say I always do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got any funny stories or anything else? Any ones that come to mind? Any ones that just hanging out with friends?
Oh gosh, I remember lining up for pregame once, and some Texas fan yelled at us saying, "Y'all are Sooners, y'all cheaters! You went too early for the gold rush."
You're making me think what I heard earlier last week of what's the dumbest thing you've heard a student ask a teacher. My friend I was at, Miss Moore, what's the English word for taco? It's kind of on that same level of, oh, you were so close, so close. Oh goodness, how are you feeling for this weekend? What is your current feeling as of 9:42 p.m. Central Standard Time of OU facing Texas?
Oh, probably. I guess a 2017 game for OU if Michael Hawkins is playing, and then if John McTeer's playing, let's go ahead and make it 31-20.
So you feel confident going into this game?
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be predicated on the defense.
Sure. Sure. How are you feeling for the Texas side for it? Like, do you think they were looking ahead with Florida? Do you think they actually just got caught off guard, like they're worse than Florida? How are you feeling with Texas?
Defense is really good. I mean, people forget that because their offense has been absolute hot garbage, but their defense is not bad. And I think that caught Texas off guard.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I kept saying it in previous live streams that I thought Florida is not nearly as bad as what people are making out to be. Sure, Billy Napier.
Yeah, they are.
Huh?
Yeah, they are. People just forget Texas is not as good as everyone thought they were.
That too. I think it was Florida was playing teams above their pay grade, but Texas isn't nearly as good either for it. I think it just was a combination of suck that happened in the swamp. And as much as Billy Napier tried to give that game away, Texas really was like, nah, y'all can keep it. Y'all can have this game. I mean, OU, we pulled our weight going undefeated going into the Cotton Bowl. Texas did not.
He also had 2 Power 5 wins, or Power 4 wins against Auburn and Michigan, which, I mean, Auburn, TBD on how they're going to do this year, but Michigan, that's a decent football team.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I said I think they are a top 15. I think we just got them at the right time and the right moment early on the season. Now, I even said I think Underwood is a good quarterback. I think he's going to be very dangerous next year. I think this year he just doesn't have any weapons, and that reflected when they played us. I think next year it's going to be the script may flip. Just like right now, Texas is going through bizarro world where they're facing what we had last year, where you have a awesome defense, can't get any offense going at all.
I think Texas is going through where the last couple of years have been an anomaly.
Yeah. I think
like they hit lightning in the bottle with that offensive line, but I mean, I think they're going back to what they were beforehand.
I agree. I'm not ready to say they've regressed.
They're not dead. No, absolutely not. But
no.
They're going through what we were last year.
Yeah, and I cracked this joke many times, and I'll say it again. We were arguing so much with Texas fans of who was the better quarterback, Arch Manning or Jackson Arnold, when really it came down to, well, maybe they both were just awful, and we both completely missed on our quarterbacks at this point. And that's maybe what it is. I don't think Arch is nearly as bad as much as I want him to be, but he's just a very mid quarterback. He's a 3-star that just was riding on the Manning name. And I think that's going to impact. I'm with you. I think OU is going to win this game. I don't know if it's going to be big because this game has been close for gosh, how long at this point. But I think I don't trust Arch on the road. This is another road game. And I think Texas had a big letdown, and they're going through, as Matt put in SEC roll call, a Tex essential crisis right now. And stuff can derail very fast if they lose this game. I think more pressure is on Texas, and I just don't trust Arch against our D-line and their O-line. Their O-line is atrocious.
The one thing I will say about Arch is that I wouldn't count him out if he has a bad year this year, because if you had to guess, do you remember what Peyton Manning's record his first year at Tennessee was?
I know he did not do well, but I would say, wasn't it a losing record?
No, it was 8-4.
Really? I thought it was a losing record. Okay.
Yeah, he was 8-4 his first year at Tennessee.
But did he have an offensive line in Tennessee?
I can't really speak on that, but I mean, I just remember he went 8-4 that first year at Tennessee and just got better. So that's why I'm not counting Arch out yet, because the other thing is that offensive line's also going to get better.
Correct. At some point.
At some
don't
point,
know if it's going to be in a week.
Next week.
Correct. I don't think it's going to be next week, and that's my thing is, if I had a prediction for it, I honestly think it's going to be a close game, but I also think it's going to come down to how Mateer is holding the football if he does play. We have no word. It seems like he's going to play, but we won't probably know that till actual game time. But I think the D-line's going to perform exactly like it did against Auburn, and Arch is going to be on his back a whole lot.
Yeah,
and that's
like that.
Yeah, it's like, it's not being like mean. It's not being like crimson colored glasses. I just think it's just the same thing. We saw that with Auburn. I think it's going to be the same thing with Kent State. Like, I think OU has the D-line.
The quarterback through hell for 4 straight quarters.
Yeah, I think the big one is going to be, can OU get a run game going? And that, to me, is what's going to determine it. For all we know, this could be a sicko game of 3-2. And that everybody's just on pins and needles until the game's over at that point. Then nobody wins.
So hard that ended up being the score and we ended up winning. I'd be like, whatever, just give us the golden hat and take that embarrassment of the game and toss it in the trash.
Yeah. Well, we will not speak of that again, because the narrative would just be awful at that point.
At that point, I'm like, I don't care about the narrative. We just beat Texas.
Oh, yeah. We beat Texas, and it will be like the overtime game, the funniest thing ever for it. But, man, when you look back on it, it will be, yeah, we won that one. Yeah. Not happy about that. It makes me think of when I was speaking with Dad earlier. He said that the worst experience for him for OU Texas is when, it's not even when, for his time, it's not when they lose, and it's not I forgot the other reason, but there was 2 things he said. The first one, when they tied, he said that was the worst feeling ever, because no fan knew how to react in the fair, and they were just going, well, that was a game, I guess. He hated that.
Like kissing your sister.
Exactly. He's like, he didn't know. He's like, what do you do at that point? No one's happy. The other one he hated was going to the games when it was very hot. He said when my mom was, I think it was pregnant with my sister, there was an OU Texas and kickoff was 97 degrees. He said before the Cotton Bowl renovations, before how the stadium is now, he's like, it was awful. He's like, he remembered basically every person was going and checking on their wives who were all pregnant, because they were all up in the upper bowl, inside the shade. And he said, I remember this because all the husbands kept running back and forth to check on them, watch the game, go back, check on them, watch the game. He said he remembers the humidity was really high that day too. And OU did win, but he's like, that was one of those, I'd rather stay at home and not worry about the game at that point.
You're looking at about 90 degrees this weekend too.
Hopefully it's 90 degrees, but not humidity. Humidity will make it awful.
Versus here in Oklahoma City, 72 degrees in my house.
I know, right? I'm like, that's going to be me. It's going to be awesome weather. Let's wrap this up, Philip. Any final predictions for the game and then for the rest of the season? Because I do want to thank you for coming on and sharing some stuff about the Pride. I think a lot of people don't really know what all goes into it, the planning stages, whether it's the Roughnecks, the Pride of Oklahoma, other media, to make this production happen for this game.
I think we're going to give a lot of people a rude awakening towards the end of the season.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a good way. For us.
Good way. How so? How so? Is it defense? Is it the offense is going to wake up a little bit more? What are you thinking?
You got an inside chance to see OU in the SEC title game.
Oh, we're going that far. We're going. I can get behind that. I can absolutely get behind that. Who is our challenge? Who do you think is the game that we need to circle as, all right, we need to watch out for this team, probably outside of South Carolina, because South Carolina seems to be the trap game after OU Texas.
Do you remember the end of October about 25 years ago?
Kansas State? No, Texas A&M.
October.
Nebraska.
We have another game coming up at the end of October against a really, really high-ranked team.
Ole Miss. Yeah.
It's also going to be 11 o'clock in the morning.
Things are starting to mirror too much.
Yeah,
It could. I mean, it's funny you mentioned that because, man, I can't justify the ticket price right now. And by the way, my dad mentioned earlier, yeah, I remember when the tickets were $20. Everyone in this room groaned knowing, like, I wish it was $20.
Yeah, I remember when they were $20 because the team was 3-8.
No, this was back in the 80s when it was like $20.
Yeah.
Yeah, he remembers when it was much, much cheaper. And the fare was like probably 50 cents to get into the game. But I see the tickets for Ole Miss like getting 100, 200. I'm like, man, if Ole Miss, my thing is I don't want to get a ticket yet for that one because that's a lot easier to like manage since that is a home game versus go to Dallas, get a hotel, whatever. But I want to see if they make it through Georgia first. That's going to be the big one.
Yeah.
And I think they can. I don't know what Georgia's defense is at this point, but I think they can. I think they can score on them. The problem is, I think it's in Athens.
You bought for Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's in Athens this year.
For Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah, because, they beat Georgia last year.
Yeah. I'm like, I think if I can check real fast, Ole Miss 2025, I think they have Washington State and then they go to Georgia and then go to Norman after that. I think that's what it is, but I don't want to say
if both these teams went out, you have a good chance of seeing a 1-2 matchup in Norman.
Yeah. Yeah, they're at Georgia the week before OU, and that if they do, that could be a big one. OU could be 2 and they could be 1, and the TV ratings would go insane.
But you'd be hard pressed to make up the 2 because I think with wins over Texas and South Carolina, I don't see that happening. Because the only way I do see that happening is those teams get upset. But like Ole Miss, like if you beat Georgia, yeah.
Do you think they jump Miami and Ohio State though?
Yeah, because who's Ohio State's best win?
That's true. What about Miami though?
Their best win's Florida State.
Florida State, yeah, but, they could.
Yeah, I mean Florida State's already lost twice though.
Yeah, Georgia would have lost twice if they lose to Ole Miss twice.
Yeah,
but I mean that.
Let's just enjoy the stupid sport for what it is.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest thing is I tell everybody, I'm enjoying the moment right now. Let's just like Michigan, this Michigan team, if they turn out 3-10, whatever. If they're a great top 15, top 10, I'm going to enjoy it for what it is in the moment. Just like Ole Miss, if they come undefeated and we arrive undefeated, it's going to be a fantastic game.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Any final thoughts, Philip, or anything before we wrap up?
No, I think I'm good. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope to have you on again in the future and stuff. Again, I love hearing the inside of like just the background of like what happens with the Pride or story stuff of it. Like it's all fun. It's all leading up to the big game this week. And so everybody, thanks for joining in as well. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you know when we go live and upload a video at this point. Again, Sunday night, guys, we will have post-game OU Texas, whether OU wins or Texas wins. We will be here to recap the game. Philip, give us a final score.
2017 OU.
Which one?
2017 OU.
2017 OU. I'm going 28-21 OU. I think that's what it's going to be. So, Boomer Sooner, guys, there's only one, and we'll see everybody on the next live stream. Later, everybody.
Yeah.